So today on Sports File, we're going to take a very important look at one of the best British fighters of the 1970s and 1980s. He was one of the few modern British boxers to reign as an undisputed champion of their division, few and far between besides Lennox Lewis and a few other great title holders. His name was Alan Minter, and for a lot of people who are old-time fans of boxing, in my case going back to 50s and 60s, he was considered the best middleweight in Europe for a number of years. He started off as a German fighter, and after winning a bronze medal at the 72 Olympics, he built up a very important resume of wins and matches. His early victories included some really top-flight contenders. The former champion Kevin Finnegan, he won the British middleweight title from him in mid-1976. A very devastating fight for both fighters. One of the pride of the Sugar Ray family, Sugar Ray Seals. The Minter won a 5th round TKO right after that. But after a tough loss to contender Ronnie Harris, Minter started to pick up where he left off with key wins against Emil Griffith, the multi-divisional champion, Kevin Finnegan again, and he built up victory upon victory. At one point, he had defeated about 7 or 8 top 30 contenders. Now here's where it gets confusing. The middleweight champion of the world, Carlos Monzon, eventually retired in the late 1970s. Now, the top 3 contenders were Marvin Hagler, Antuofermo, and Minter, but none of them fought for the vacant title. Eventually won by a tomato can by the name of Hugo Coro, who couldn't punch his way out of a paper bag. And eventually, Vito Antuofermo, of all people, won the title from Coro. Marvin Hagler was considered the uncrowned champion of the world at the time, and eventually had an opportunity to take the title from Vito Antuofermo, but on a very strange undercard. Antuofermo held on with a last round rally to draw with Marvin Hagler, which put him at the back of the list yet again. Now, the promoters for WBC, WBA, and might as well say Ring Magazine, because it was a unified title, thought to themselves, okay, Hagler, you got to go to back of the line. Who should Antuofermo fight? Well, Antuofermo made a mistake and allowed Alan Minter to get a shot. And that fight at Caesar Palace, Las Vegas, in 1980, in March of 1980, was a very gritty match that Minter eventually won. A lot of the people who watched the fight thought that Antuofermo was past his prime, that shouldn't have fought at all, and he proved that in the second fight in a rematch, where Antuofermo was stopped on some very, very bad cuts in the 8th round. And again, this is what happens because Alan Minter Venting was a fighting champion, and he would fight sometimes in the Royal Albert Hall, which was technically his home arena. But the fight against Antuofermo, the second fight especially, was at Wembley. Wembley, a great stadium for fighting. He signed on the dotted line with Marvin Hagler to defend his title. And Marvin Hagler at the time, in September of 1980, was in great shape. He destroyed Minter. Officially he was stopped on cuts, but Minter couldn't do anything in a fight. But here's where it became bizarre. When Hagler eventually was declared the winner after the fight was stopped, the fans decided to barrage the ring with all kind of debris, almost killing Hagler in the ring. And Minter said on the record after the fight, he said, "I lost fair and square. There's no reason that the fans should have been throwing stuff. Hagler was the better fighter today." Now, Minter had a chance to make a comeback later on, but he lost some 2 very tough fights against top contenders, Mustafa Hamsho and Tony Simpson, his British counterpart, which eventually let him lose the European middleweight title, something he heavily treasured. Now, Minter is, in my opinion, one of the most unheralded fighters of the 70s and 1980s, a good scrapper, a good fighter. And what was interesting against Hagler, it was billed as the Battle of the Southpaws. Not too often you see 2 southpaw fighters go against each other, and Hagler was known for being devastating in the short clinches. And in this case, Minter was just overmatched. Some people say that Hagler was in his prime, which I don't think so. Most of his prime was in the late 1970s. By 1980, he was starting to lose some of his sting. But Minter was more than a capable champion. And he was the toast of England, toast of all the British Commonwealth for many years, well deserved. So again, if you're a fan of the middleweight boxing division, Alan Minter ranks as one of the most important, not say transition champions, but at least he fought Hagler. He wanted to give Hagler a chance. Minter always fought the best that was out there, and he defended his British and European belt with distinction. But I go back to the 2 fights against Kevin Finnegan and the fight against, I remember watching some of the Sugar Ray Seales fight. I always found him to be a terribly accurate fighter. And, you know, as Canadians, we love fighters that know how to fight on the inside. And he was a tremendous southpaw. Great skilled guy. So again, if you're listening tonight, have a great evening. As we like to say in the middle of the ring, keep your hands up and keep punching Apollo. Have a nice night. Bye.